Just make sure it starts. Okay. All right. Welcome to the Power of Ownership. And we've got an amazing guest here for you today. Mr. Eric Anderson is a rock star realtor here in North Carolina. And Eric, you want to introduce yourself to the folks?
Yeah. First, I want to say thank you, Anthony, for the opportunity to pop on your podcast here. Pretty excited when I got the invite from you. Eric Anderson, I am a realtor here in the Raleigh, Durham, in the Fayetteville, Fort Bragg area. 20 years in. So that's kind of who I am in a nutshell. U.S. Army veteran, but been in this area for a good little while and hoping to share, some little nuggets that might help your audience and looking for a very vibrant conversation with my good friend here, Anthony Gallup. So,
all right. All right. Now, Eric, tell them how they can reach out to you and connect with you.
yeah. So the easiest way to get me, is you can reach me at my telephone number, 910-797-3260, or on socials. My branding is real easy, at Realtor Eric Anderson. That's, my Facebook, IG, and LinkedIn. So that's pretty much the easiest way. If you don't get me on the phone call, just shoot me a text and I guarantee I'll reach back out to you when I have availability.
Perfect. Perfect. All right, guys. So as you know, my name is Anthony, aka the Mortgage Prepper. Not like a survivalist, but more like a strategist, someone that sees and helps you plan the playing field before you even step foot onto it. And what we do is we specialize in helping empower people to secure their own legacies through prepared home ownership. So we're going to hop right in. Eric, we've got a list of awesome questions here to kind of do a deep dive on what's important to you and how you view ownership. Are you ready to go?
Let's go. Let's do it.
All right. Okay. So hopping right into it, we're going to jump with the very first question. All right. What does ownership mean to you?
Ooh, that's a good one. Look, so ownership to me is really about accountability, right? So, and accepting that accountability. And everyone wants ownership. Everybody says they want ownership. I have not met a person who says they don't want ownership in something, right? Ownership in their business, ownership in their life. But it's all about accountability. Are you willing to be accountable, good, bad, ugly, whatever it may be, to get that ownership? And I think that's what ownership to me means, because you just have to be accountable to it, because you're going to have the ups, the downs, but that's you owning and being accountable to whatever those results are and how you get to those results. So for me, it's, that accountability.
No, that's a great point. I mean, accountability is the number one thing. You can't own anything unless you're accountable for that ownership, right? So,
exactly.
all right. So let's what do we have next here? Yeah. So what's the one thing that you ever owned that changed your life?
I would say my first car. And there's a story behind that, right? So, I grew up in a small little country town in, Florida, Central Florida, Haines City, Florida, Polk County. My mom was, we didn't have a lot, right? And my mom had her car, which got her to work and everything else. My mother would not let me touch her car for anything in the world. I couldn't touch her car. She wasn't going to put me on the insurance. She wasn't going to do any of those things, right? And I knew that, and I knew why, right? So I don't hold it against her, but I knew that if I wanted something, I would have to go get it, right? So for me, I've been working since I was, 13. So I had saved my money up. I went and bought me a 1978 Pontiac Bonneville Brougham, orange with a cream top. But $500, I spent $1,200 for insurance for that year. But the key was, it wasn't about the car. The car was a beater. It wasn't about, the insurance I paid, and that was just for liability. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I wanted something and I was going to go get it no matter what. And that kind of became, whenever things hit me in life, that's the things that was the first thing that I ever owned that made me like set up my priorities for when you want something, you make it happen and you go. And really that's the foundation of how I've lived my life. So.
Yeah, that's important. Once you realize that you went and accomplished something and got something, it flips a switch, right? You're just like, oh, I can just go get whatever I want, right?
Uh,
No, that
it,
makes sense.
it just, Anthony, you just said it. Like it flips that switch, and all of a sudden you realize that, wait a minute, something that I thought I couldn't, because you don't know what you don't know, right?
Mhm.
So you always say, well, I can't get a car, I can't get this insurance. But then when you put your mind to it, you can get it. What are you willing to sacrifice to go get it? Now that's where, like you said, once again, ownership, accountability. Am I willing to go do what I need to do to get there? But
Absolutely.
that's the one thing I would say was the first thing that I owned that really changed my life.
Okay. All right. So that leads into our third question. What are you looking to own next?
So to own next. So for me, it's, I've had great success, right? So for me, my next piece is I'm finishing up this GC license, right? Because ownership is key for me, and not just for me, but like for my children. I have three children, two that are, I call them off the payroll, right? Because they've graduated from college, they're out the house, they don't need anything from me. Well, they still ask, but they don't need anything technically from me. And then I have my youngest, who's 13. My goal is to get that GC license and set them up so that in this time and age that we're in, it's tougher for our younger generation that's coming along. I purchased my first home when I was 24. So I'm trying to ensure, and that helped me with ownership and then growth, right? So I want to get the GC license so I can help each one of them. I want each one of them to have 3 multifamilies, that they're going to purchase them. I'm going to build them so I can build them at cost. And then they'll have instant equity. We talk about this all the time, Anthony, instant equity. But then also they'll have something where they're able to, now, if that job or they want to make a career change or something of that nature, I want them to be able to bring in, roughly about $9,000 to $10,000 a month that they clear. Because if you at $9,000 to $10,000 a month, they can really go pursue whatever they want to pursue in life and live a good life. So that's what my goal is. I don't want them to wait for me to die to try to get something, because then I haven't even prepared them for the ownership that I would potentially leave them. So instead, I told them I'm not leaving them anything. I'm gonna help you get your own while I'm here. Therefore, now you can build that out and go from there. So
Yeah, that's super important because a lot of people make that mistake of wait until they pass on to give their assets over to their heirs, and you haven't created their capacity to handle that, right? So a lot of times you'll see wealth being lost or fumbled in one generation because no one built the capacity in their heirs. And that what you're saying right there, that's perfect, right? Have them build and learn this while you're here to help them along,
well, yeah,
right? And that's huge.
yeah, because when you think about it, and especially if I'm being frank, especially in the Black community,
Mhm.
I mean, I've seen so much in my own family, people who had homes and then it go into foreclosure, and then you leave it to the kid who they weren't responsible when they were growing up, and now you leave them with 50, 100, 200, $300,000 worth of an asset or assets, and you expect them to be responsible now when they've never been responsible in their lives. So
Right.
that's one of the things. And another piece of that, once we have that set up, one of the things too is I'm gonna have that set up in a trust, because then, no matter who they fall in love or out of love with in the state of North Carolina, what is it, Anthony? 1 to buy, 2 to sell. I want to make
Right.
sure that asset and the items that I put in place for my children are then protected, because that's the love I want to give back to them. They may fall in love and out of love with people, but I don't want those people to have access to the assets that I set up for my generational wealth to go forward, for them to have ownership that they can then pass along to their children and their children's children.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's where legacy protection is super important as well, right? You're on the right path. That's perfect. All right, so let's jump into it. All right, so what's one mistake you've made in business that cost you money, and what did it teach you?
So, um, my one mistake in business, right? So when I came in, uh, I went into the military straight out of basically straight out of high school, right? Well, straight out of the first college that I had to withdraw from. But anyway, we call that dropping out the first time, right? When you realize that people are just as poor as you are when you go there and they can't give you as much money. So, and then I went, of course, the military, corporate America, and then I got into real estate, right? So when I got into real estate, I came into real estate because I had been in corporate America and I saw how hard it was to work. But then I went into real estate and I hit the ground running. I'm this rookie. Within my first, I'll say 6 months, I had already closed 8 transactions because, I understood that I was leaving a corporate job where, I was making great money and I was like, can I make this money? So I'm going. And because of that success and then interacting with people, I was running the Keller Williams Fayetteville office actually. And that success led to them looking at me and asking, hey, would you take this test to be our managing broker? Da, da, da. So I said, oh, I didn't want to. And then I said, oh, fine, I'll take it. Prove that I'm not a fit. Move on. Matched it very well. And then I was like, they sold me on the opportunity, right? The opportunity of what it could be. So in my mind coming in, I'm thinking it was already there and I would receive X. It was not. So I ended up basically taking that management role, which I turned, lemons into lemonade, because that was paying me a base salary. I couldn't sell anymore. I had made as much, as what this base salary was in that 6 months, easily with the freedom. So my mistake was taking that role without understanding that role, that the monies that they said could be there were not there. And it was predicated on me turning the office around, which I ended up going from 35 agents we went from 35 agents to 110 agents in 18 months. So the money came, but in my mind, I could have still been selling and going from there. But that was the one that cost me the most money, because if I would have just stayed on the selling track, I would have probably made 3 times as much. But that temporary costing me more money then gave me the experience where I then ran other multiple offices, and when I structured my other deals, when I ran the Keller Williams Raleigh office and the Raleigh Briar Creek office, structuring those deals were a little different conversation, where I was asking for P&Ls and different items and negotiating where they might want to give me 5%. No, you're giving me 20% of this profit with this. So it was a costly mistake, but it was a lean forward learning opportunity that has, then propelled me into the different areas that I'm at now. So.
Yeah. So that it's important that you mentioned that these mistakes are learning opportunities, right? Where you're able to leverage that experience later on to enrich whatever path you end up being on, right? So that's key. I love that.
Absolutely.
All right. So now let's talk about what's one thing people in your industry get wrong.
So in the real estate industry is a very interesting industry, which I don't have to tell, the mortgage guy this, because you interact with so many different realtors and personalities, right? So the one thing in our industry that people get wrong is comparison, right? When people come in, when they first are looking or they're in the industry, hey, I want to sell just as much as Eric or, Agent X or Agent Y or this person. They start comparing, right? So now they want to put a target so they can go and hit whatever the numbers are that you see on the MLS that says, hey, this agent did 10 million in volume, but if they discounted all their prices and everything else, what did they really make, right? So everyone gets called in that portion. So for me, I think most agents have to, when you come into an industry, and I've coached up several other agents on this, and the mentors that I have and the mentees I have, and I've said the same thing to them. How much money do you need to operate as a person that you need to bring home to take care of your family? If you're just coming in and let's say you have supplemental $3,000 coming in already a different way, Okay, but your average cost of your household, how you live, is $8,000, whatever that may be. So if it's $8,000, that means you need to make $5,000, right, from real estate per month to keep on, doing what you're doing and living. So instead of always saying I need to do more and more and more at 5,000, our average sales price, if I'm using the triangle, the average sales price, you're talking about 450 to 500K. So let's use 3% on that, that's $15,000. So instead of you saying I need to stress myself to do 50 transactions, if you sell one home per month and you make that 15,000 and take 2 months off, at 10 months, you've got $150,000. But our industry doesn't think that way. We're wired to be chasing or want to be the best at something versus saying, hey, I want to be great at what I do, generate the income that I need to build the business that I want. So to me, that's where people in real estate go wrong. And realtors, both new agents coming in, experienced agents, because I've seen shooting stars, but a shooting star always what? It always falls once the energy burns out. And that's what I see a lot of. If I look to my left and to my right of those who came into real estate with me 20 years ago, 90% are no longer in the business.
Yeah, I would say that's one thing that you see consistent across a lot of industries is comparison. They always say comparison is the enemy of progress, right? So, if you're not paying attention to your own situation and you're looking outside, then you're always going to lead yourself into the wrong direction, I think. Yeah, great stuff. All right, so let's get into some more detailed questions. What's the part of being a real estate agent that nobody tells you about until you're already into it and it's almost too late to quit?
So me no hunt, me no eat. That is the part where we have a lot of folks coming from a W-2 mindset, right? So most of us, we come from a W-2. We weren't entrepreneurs, born entrepreneurs, going from there, but most people are coming into our industry and they had a, steady job. You went in, you were going to get paid no matter if you sip coffee all day long and talked and laughed and joked. Most people come into this industry, they come into an office and then they want to sit, talk, drink coffee and talk about what's going on in the business. But everybody in that office can write their own contract. You've got to get belly to belly out there with people. You have to be interactive. And I think that's part of the problem where people, when you're W-2, you wait for work to be given to you because the people who own the company are out there lead generating and bringing it in and handing it to you. When you are a realtor in here, you now become that lead generator and you have to go out and interface with people and actually have that interaction where you have to understand that me no hunt, me no eat, meaning if you don't go out and seek the business, you will starve in this industry. And I think that's the biggest fallacy that most people have. And then they're scared, but make sure that you're aligned with, whether it's, whoever the person, company. It's never a company, right? Because the companies are companies, right? I've been at Keller Williams. I've had my own company that I sold. I'm at EXP. Companies are just a piece of it. Make sure you're aligned with the people that you can pick up that phone when at 8 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock in the morning, whatever time, in order to get your answers. Because if you have the right support system, you can swing for the fences because now you can say, hey, well, you know what? I don't know. There's something going on with that. Let me reach out to my partner agent, Eric, and then we'll go from there. Got to have the people who can actually answer the questions for the clients. And then if you have that confidence that you have that support, agents will explode on their business going from there.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's one of the other side effects of ownership is you have to go out there and go hunt, right?
You have to go out there and go hunt.
Yeah, that W-2 job, someone else was hunting, that person that owned that industry, that company, right? So that makes perfect sense. That's right along our path. All right, so let's look at the next question. How can the community support you right now? What do you need?
So for me, I'm always open for business. That's what I always say. I'm always open for business. So community wise, I'm really like for me, I'm big on people home ownership, right? People don't realize that the majority of the wealth in America, the majority of their net worth of people is in their home. So the average renter in the US only has about $8,000 to $10,000 net worth. The average homeowner, almost $500,000. That tells you, like, convincing people that home ownership is the way you build wealth, and the way you can come from, like myself, small little country town, first one to graduate college, first one to do all these other little things, and then you can build your way up. That's the way you have ownership leads to net worth, and you're able to do different things. So that's how the community can support me by, hey, let me assist you. And if I can assist you, if I'm not in your area, because I know your podcast is all over the country. So if I'm not in your area, reach out to me. I can link you with somebody that's in that area who can help get you into that home ownership. Or if you already own a home, how do you now take some of that equity, reinvest that equity into something that will build from there? Because the key is to always understand that you have to build and go from there. So giving back.
Absolutely. Strategy is everything, guys. Strategy is everything. All right. So next question, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's see. Who's the ideal client for you, right? Who would make a perfect referral?
So my ideal client is someone who is pretty much motivated, for one, and willing to partner to help achieve whatever their goal is, right? So like all of us have certain clienteles that end up being where, like for me, I know who my client typically in the box is, right? My clients are typically somewhat affiliated with usually college educated, or college educated or military related, right? Those two are my buckets. And they understand, like, there's always some type of similarity, right? We have a common goal that we're trying to achieve. So for me, it's just having them be motivated enough to listen to help, so that I can take all the expertise I have and help them achieve whatever their goal is. That's really my ideal client. Someone who, I don't care if we're buying $100,000 house or a $10 million house, because I have clients that, sway the whole gambit of that, but they have to be willing to work in partnership where I'm like, hey, the market is what the market is. I'm gonna tell you what it is. We can try it your way, but if the market tells us your way is not working because we did the Hail Mary and they fumbled the play, now let's try my strategy now. Because I'm always willing to, hey, I had a client just recently. Hey, I want to list for a number that was probably about 30,000 more than where I thought it could list for, right? So we went with it. Week after, client calls me. He's like, hey, yep, this isn't working. We're not getting enough showings. Let's go with the number that you said. We went on the contract within the next week. So, it's a give and take, because people have a thought process in their head. And I always want to honor what people feel and think, because it's your asset, right? So, or it's your opportunity that you're trying to buy something. And I want to go there, but I also want to make sure that we have a realistic, because sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And I'm here to advise, because you have to live with whatever that decision is. And my goal is to make sure you're okay with whatever that decision might be. So that's my perfect ideal client, just someone who's willing to work together where we come up with a solution that works for them.
Yeah, I like that. That's also my perfect ideal client as well, right? Someone that's actually open to understanding that there's expertise that we've earned through our business, but it's not just my way or the highway, right? My goal is to make sure that you come to the same conclusion, whether that's being trial and error or you just follow the lead, right? So it just depends. I like that.
Absolutely.
All right. So we've knocked out the main questions. Now we've got some rapid fire questions here. So these are going to be quick. All right, let's jump into it. All right. What's your favorite business book, Eric?
Think and Grow Rich.
Okay. All right. Think and Grow Rich. That's a classic. That's a classic. All right.
All here. Yep.
Yep. And Best business purchase under $500 for you.
Oh, that would be my DJI Osmos 3. I bought it before it became popular.
Yeah, I remember seeing those videos. I always wondered how was he doing that. Okay. Gotcha. All right, next, what we got? Morning routine or night owl?
Morning routine. 10 o'clock, I'm out. 5:15, 5:30 in the morning, I'm up and rolling. I look, it's 10 o'clock. I've been going for 6 hours already.
Got it. Well, former army guy, I could have guessed that.
That was an easy one.
Right. All right. So what we got next? What do you look for in a buyer or seller in the first 5 minutes that tells you whether this actually going to be something that closes or something that falls apart?
This is a good one. Yeah. So with that, as soon as I have the initial conversation with them, right? When I walk in, if I point out something with a seller about the property and they say, "Oh no, that's no big deal. No, that's not that." I know right then and there it's going to be a tug of war, and sometimes I just want to let the rope go. Right? I've had clients where I've told them, "Hey, I just don't think we're a good match," and just moved on. And then with a buyer, hey, beer budget, champagne taste, and you say, "Hey, look, you can't really find too much in Wake County for 150,000. Now I can take you down to, Cumberland County and we can find you something at 150, 200. But that realization of that in just having that, quick conversation, I can almost tell from the very instant. I use the DISC profile. I profile all the clients instantly. I want to know if they're a decision maker, if they're social, if they need more time to process. So.
Yeah, that's important. You got to know who you're talking to.
Exactly.
All right, what we got next? What's the one business mistake you'd never make again?
The one business, the one business mistake I would never do again. I would say on that one, I'll have to go back to, not analyzing the actual total deal when I came in at Keller Williams, and seeing where the numbers really were, the actual numbers and the dream. They sold me on the dream versus the reality. And I think that helped me also when I'm dealing with my clients. I don't sell them on the dream. I sell them on the reality. And then we hope that we can get here on the dream. So for me, that's what it would be.
All right. So if you could give yourself one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Oh, buy real estate early, get into real estate as early as possible, because real estate is the only real estate makes more millionaires than anyone else, any other industry in the world, period. Whether it's real estate agent, mortgage, real estate makes.
Right. Absolutely. All right. Open house or cold outreach? Which one do you think actually builds a real estate business and which one is just busy work and disguised as productivity?
Look, man, I do not cold call. I do not cold call at all. I have never cold call. I never will cold call. Give me the open house. Let me shake hands and kiss babies and I want to be amongst people. That cold outreach, just not for me. It's for some other people, but I like interacting with people, but open house, give me that all day long.
Absolutely. All right. Okay. What's the best investment you've made in yourself?
The best investment that I've made in myself, I would say the best investment I've made in myself actually is going to conferences and interacting with people. Like, I always keep myself, even though I've been in 20 years, like the new agent who's coming in, who knows social media and all this, I just want to know more. Like, you're either growing or dying in this business. There's no in between. So I never want to be stagnant. So I always invest in going to seminars and, I want to know what is going on in the industry and going from there. So that, I would say, that's the best investment I do. There's not one year I don't go to at least 4 events that have me in person with others in the industry and learning from them also. Absolutely.
Yeah, you definitely have to keep learning. You got to stay on the cutting edge, especially now with the market and the industry changing so quickly, right?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect sense. All right. All right. So what are you saying no to this year?
Negative energy. If if you bring me negative energy, you will not get that from me. I will not negative energy just because it doesn't do anything, and that's from real estate or family or anybody else. Because energy knows no limits, right? Energy is neutral. It's either positive or negative. It's like interest rates. Interest rates are neither good nor bad, right? If you're earning the interest, it's great. If you're paying the interest on high credit cards, it's bad. So I just tend to stay on the positive side.
I agree. All right. So what would you say is the one habit that has made you the most money?
I would say social interaction, shaking hands and kissing babies, as I like to call it. That is my bread and butter, being with people and interacting and giving away the information for free and just engaging with people.
Yeah, being a value. I like that.
Value.
I like that. All right. So who has influenced you the most in your business journey?
I would say it would be my mentor, my real estate mentor, who actually was George Womble. He old head real estate, agent, blue blood from the Triangle area. But he was the one who I engaged with when I first got into real estate, and we've had a 20-year relationship, from there. So I would say George Womble.
Yeah, George is he's a big guy. He's a big name in this industry, in this I guess nationwide actually, but North Carolina is well known.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Buyer's agent or listing agent? Which side of the deal do you love more and why?
Ooh, this is a twist. I like this one. So I would say I enjoy the buyer agent side because it allows me first time home buyer or someone's building something, that hope and that energy that you see. I enjoy that, right? That is energy all day long. Now on the listing side, I also enjoy that also, but and I enjoy that from the business side because I get to control kind of my time, right? A buyer, you can take out 10, 20 times. On the listing side, market, put things together. For business wise, you can do more of those. So, it's a different type of love on each side.
Got it. Okay. Which one do you lean to the most though? That's what I'm going to nail you down. Listen.
So I know I was trying to dodge the question. So I would say probably because of all the other things I have going on right now, it would be the listing agent side. It would be.
All right. Well, we ended it with a really strong question. So, thank you, Eric, for hopping on. This was great. We got to know you a little bit more. Got to know your business and what drives you. And again, tell the people how they can reach out and how they can connect with you.
Yeah. So really easy to get on socials is at Realtor Eric Anderson. On my Facebook, IG, or LinkedIn. Telephone number 910-797-3260. Call or text. I'm here to answer any questions for those who are looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, or agents who are just looking to, hey, how did you do it? Can I pick your brain? I get that all the time. No matter if you're part of my firm or not, just reach out because that's how we learn from each other. And Anthony, thank you once again for inviting me to the Power of Ownership, because I think this is critical for folks who really want to own and understanding what it really means.
Absolutely. We created this podcast because we understand that ownership in life is probably the utmost important, right? Whether it's coming from personal ownership with your relationships all the way to business and finance, right? So make sure that you catch us on Monday night from 9 p.m. Eastern time to about 10:30. I know it's Monday Night Football coming up, but bear with us. It's going to be very valuable each week. We have a Power of Ownership podcast with my two other co-hosts. And then we'll be doing these interviews throughout the week. And if you would like to interview with us, feel free to reach out. You can always get in touch with me on my website, themortgageprepper.com. And again, Mortgage Prepper on socials. You can reach me there as well. And you can always reach out directly, either text or phone call, 919-336-0099. Again, thank you, Eric, for such an amazing interview. Appreciate you taking the time out.
Yes,
I know
sir.
you got to get back to it. Feel free to give me a call if you need me for anything. And thank you guys. Signing out.